What is Ebola? Ebola is a rare virus that causes bleeding inside and outside of the body. Hi, I'm Brian Morusiewicz, and just from that brief definition, they can cause a sense of fear for someone. In 2014, the numbers for Ebola cases shot up. Many news outlets covered stories about the sudden uprise. Some of these stories include what the symptoms are, how it is spread, and what the impact is other than the individual's health. The Ebola outbreak has had some effect on countries around the world, whether that is a health scare, or communal impact. Let's look at some of the numbers or some of the symptoms for the Ebola virus. People who have been infected with the virus have suffered from obvious but severe symptoms. Symptoms such as high fever, headache, joint and muscle aches, stomach pains, weakness, and lack of appetite are common. As the virus progresses, bleeding inside the body and from the eyes, nose, and ears are common. Also, some patients have had bleeding from their mouth from coughing up blood or vomiting. From what is clear, the virus is spread through the contact of blood in vulnerable body parts on a person, such as the eyes, mouth, and nose. Now that we have some symptoms for Ebola, let me share some of the unfortunate numbers for the virus. Scientists Jolie Kaner and Sarah Shack state that as of April 2016, more than 28,000 people were affected by the virus. And of those 28,000 people, more than 11,000 were passed away due to fighting the virus. Places that are most infected by the virus are West Africa and places such as Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. Due to people helping out and volunteering in West Africa, the virus has spread to places such as the US and throughout Europe. Although the number of these cases have been minimal, health officials and residents in the countries have taken precautions to help prevent and stop this possible spread of the virus. Keeping these points in mind about the number of infected, let me share how the rest of society is impacted. Communities struggle through this virus through food struggles, traditional values, and economic impact. Turmoil is being caused in communities in Africa due to the fears of obtaining the virus from one another. In Africa, it is a formal greeting to kiss on the cheek, and due to scares of the virus, people have been hesitant of doing it, which is a very disrespectful sign. Also due to the outbreak, in 2014, schools in Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Liberia were forced to close. According to BBC, the Global Business Coalition for Education did a study suggesting that more than 5 million kids were not allowed to attend school. Also, burials were being done with people wearing hazardous material suits. And this was seen as a disrespectful sign because the deceased were deprived of a traditional burial. Communities are also struggling to gather food because people were sent away from their work areas. According to BBC, in 2014, the whole food program the total cost would be $70 million to help achieve the emergency operations in West Africa. Also, the World Bank predicted the GDP growth in Guinea to decline from 4.5% to 3.5%. The finance minister of the Liberian economy also said that the economy was on the rise before the outbreak, but once the outbreak occurred, all successful signs came to a halt. The countries of Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Liberia have all been poor countries prior to the outbreak, but due to the outbreak, there's a potential for these countries to become even more poor. According to BBC, some of the world's largest companies involved in iron and mining were involved in projects in West Africa. But due to the outbreak, the companies had to stop their work and relieve most of their workforce and send them home. This caused export earnings to decline heavily. Mining and ironing were these countries' main reason for the rapid growth. Because of the Ebola outbreak, much of West Africa had to rebuild the economy and restart all over again. The number of infected are growing quicker than ever before. These people are suffering from gruesome, painful symptoms, and there is nothing that many people can do. Scientists are still researching for medical vaccines and doing whatever they can to help. Every day, people are going through this pain, and help is very limited because people around the world are afraid to obtain the virus if they helped in West Africa. Traditions are slowly disappearing, starvation is a factor, and the economy is in the decline because companies had to stop their work. A metaphorical cry for help is being sent from parts of Africa to help this crisis. Thank you for listening to my speech about the Ebola outbreak.